Hi, I'm Bonnie Kemke. Welcome to my studio and welcome to Quilting on a Thread. I really can't believe it, but this is the 13th video in my journey on the Color My World pattern by Wendy Williams. Now, the link to buy this pattern is in the description of this video, as it has been in all the other videos, and you should see, at least at the beginning of this video, a link up in the top that will, it's actually a YouTube card. It'll actually take you directly to Flying Fish Kits, where you can buy Wendy's pattern, Color My World, directly from her website. What I wanted to do for this video is to actually demonstrate how I'm doing the trees. For these trees, I want to show you exactly what my process has been. Now, I am not following the template that Wendy Williams provides, because that puts the trees between the sky void of the houses. So there's maybe a half of an inch, and then a tree and a half of an inch, and then the house half of an inch, a tree half of it. And that didn't appeal to me, because the trees in the earlier version of the houses were directly in between two houses. Of course, those houses are slapped up next to each other, and there would have been no other way to do it. But for me, I wanted to follow that same aesthetic. Another thing that I'm doing, which I've seen on other renditions of this pattern, is I'm making a thicker tree trunk, because these trees have been around for a while. So now you can see what I've got laid out for my tree. And so I strongly recommend that before you begin laying out your 1/4 inch fusible bias tape, that you go ahead and pin your trees in place, because you want to know how high your tree greenery in place, because you want to know how high up to take your tree branches. After you've done that, you can either just leave it in place, or you can unpin it and remove it. Now, these pieces are actually loose. I just laid them down for a visual. So what I will do when I'm laying these down is I'll go ahead and lay a piece down, and I actually had started to fuse that one down. So I'll lay a piece down, and then I'll go ahead and fuse it down with my iron. Now keep in mind that even if I put this down, I can pick this right back up. That fusible tape is not permanent at all. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to show you that. And show you my process with this, because after I fuse these in place, I sew them down. Now you can either sew each piece, or you can do as I'm going to do, and that's just sew all of them together. Now, because I want to make my trees wider, I can't just butt this up against it, because they will eventually pull apart. So I will just gently, ever so gently, guide it along and on top of the previous layer. Now I want this down, because I'm going to trim that off. So I'll guide that up the previous layer, and I'm going to go ahead and start pressing, but only to get that part affixed. And then I'm going to go ahead and twist this however I would like, and then bring the iron in and do the rest of the pressing. If there's a part that I don't like, I just will push it over a little, because I can lift this just a tad. So I'll push it over a little and bring the iron back in. So then, with that, it was easy, because I don't have an errant branch, if you will, a branch that doesn't go all the way to the ground. So these have not been fixed down, so I'm just going to pick that up, move that out of the way. This is my errant branch. It's not quite, you know, it's not going to the ground. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay that out there, and I'm going to bring the iron in to fuse that down. Notice I'm holding these other pieces so they don't move on me, because I kind of like the way I had laid them out. So now I'll take this second branch, and I'm just going to bring that up. And see, that's a little too far. I'm liable to lose it. So I'll bring that. Just adjust that until it visually looks the way you want. And since I'm going to go ahead and lay this one on top, and I kind of like the look of it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and fuse these two at the same time. I could fuse one and then the other, or I can fuse them both. So I'm just going to fuse that one at the same time. Now I'm going to give my trees another look and make sure that that's how I want them to appear. And I kind of like that. I like my trees being not symmetrical. So now here we are, we're in front of my brother, and I've chosen to use my brother because I can guide the stitches a little better. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and take the trees off, the tree greenery off, and I'm just going to sew the branches in place. So I've threaded the machine with black, and I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to drop my foot. And what I want to try to do is to sew as close to the edge of that 1/4 inch binding as I can, the bias tape as I can. It's not always that easy, but let's see if we can give this a try. I've got my machine set at its slowest speed so that I can be a little bit more in control. Oops, and I've gone over into the center there. So let's take a look at that. Not too bad, but I did kind of edge off into the center. Not enough that I want to take it out, but enough that I know I want to be a little more careful. So I'm going to trim these edges. I should have knotted them, but they're going to be protected where they're at. So now I need to do the other side. And I pretty much have to do the same thing. I have to just be very careful to try and stay on the edge of that 1/4 inch bias tape. Now, when I get down here to where the two pieces are joined, I have a couple of choices. I could continue and just sew singularly, or I can come in and do a slow a zigzag. And I think I'm going to look for a stitch to do a zigzag. The stitch that I've chosen is the stem stitch. So for this to work, I have to go right down the center. So I'm going to edge a few stitches over, and I'm going to get right in the center. hopefully I can get this to where you can see that stem stitch. You may not be able to see it very well, but it went right across the place where the two pieces of bias tape are meeting. I've taken my machine back to my straight stitch, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of these bits of bias tape. Now once I get down here to where the two branches meet, I'm going to go ahead and do my lock stitch. And I'm going to do a couple of those just to be sure that stays in place. And then we'll needle up. We'll get this out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and trim these stitches. Okay, so I've went ahead and finished top stitching all the rest of the tree element. Now I'm ready to do the leaves element. And so I already did the right side here. So I've got the left side pinned in place. And the next thing that I will do is I will top stitch 1/8 of an inch away from the edge on both of the side edges, the top and the side, and then I'll come in and very carefully top stitch probably about 1/16 of an inch or so for the treetop. So let's just go ahead and do that and see how it looks. Keep in mind that I've used Kelly green here. I need to use an olive green on this side. So now that we are ready to go, here we'll just begin. So I just did a couple of lock stitches there. So we want to make sure that that's going to lay smooth. Now what I like to do, just to be sure, because this is a curved edge that we're going to be sewing next, and because I don't want to have to take it out, I'm just going to go ahead and put some pins in to steady the material while I work with it. It really isn't necessary, but I found that anytime you don't prepare for something odd, then you get something really odd. So I always prepare for the material to slip around on me by throwing a couple of pins in and keeping everything secure. go ahead and take those pins out. Oop, one went flying. And you see that everything is nice and smooth, and I'll go give this a good starch and be ready to move on to the next piece. So now my city house is completely pieced, and I've already starched it. I always starch my pieces as I finish them so that they're ready to be squared up, you know, and by squared up I don't mean made into a square, but I mean that all the sizes are compared and trimmed out so that each of the individual types of houses are the same size, and that all of the sizes, all of the houses, tall buildings will fit together. So once I finish with the remaining 3 city houses, I'll be ready to begin piecing that outer ring, which will in fact make my Color My World quilt now a square. And that's because of the orientation of the left side, right side tall buildings and the peak that's on each one of the skyscrapers. So let me finish that, and I'll be back in another video to show you how that turns out. In the meantime, I hope that this process, this quilt journey has been helpful to you, and I'd really like to see you again here on Quilting on a Thread.